Okay, now we're going to customize your display and layout settings in Salesforce. I've returned back to the home screen to remind you how to get to the My Settings section of Salesforce. So if you click on the down arrow next to your name and click on My Settings, you'll go to the My Settings screen. And we've previously looked at the personal information, how to customize that. So now we're going to be customizing the display and layout settings for Salesforce. So if I click the plus sign to the right here, or just simply click anywhere in this menu item, it'll expand to show the different options available to me to customize my display and layout settings. So the first one is to customize my tabs. So to remind you, the tabs here are these tabs here across the top of the screen. We have Home and Chatter tab, Accounts, Contacts, Cases, Solutions, and more. And so we have also the custom apps that are available from this drop down. If you notice, Call Center here corresponds with this call center selection. And this is the Force.com app menu here on the top right. And so if I were to click on this, this shows the different apps or applications that are available to me as a Salesforce user. I have Sales, Marketing, App Launcher, Community, Site.com, Salesforce Chatter, and Content, in addition to the call center application that I'm currently in. And as a reminder, an application in Salesforce is simply a series of tabs that appear across the top of the screen. And a tab can appear inside of multiple applications. And so, for instance, the Account tab may appear in the Sales application, and it may also appear in the Marketing application. And then as well, some of these other links down below are the App Exchange, the Developer Community, and the Success Community. And so if I wanted to adjust the tabs that appear in the Call Center application, I can remove tabs that currently appear. So for instance, if I wanted to remove the Dashboards tab, I would click to highlight it here under the Selected Tabs section and move it back to the Available Tabs selection. You can also scroll through this list and select other tabs that you want to display. And then just simply click Save. And so now you'll notice that the Dashboards tab is missing from my row of tabs in the Call Center application. So to return that back, I would click on the Display and Layout link and click Customize My Tabs again. And I'm going to return the Dashboard tab to the Call Center application and click Save. So now we have Dashboards returned as a tab in the Call Center application. So if I click on Display and Layout again and customize my tabs, if I want to adjust the tabs in a different application, I just simply select the desired application from the drop down. I'm going to select Sales, and then the available and the selected tabs update depending on which ones are set for the Sales application. And so let's say that I want to add an additional tab to the Sales application. I'm going to select Documents, and I'm going to move that over. Then if I wanted to move it up or down in the sequence, this would be where they appear left to right at the top. And so I'm going to move Documents up a few just after Solutions, in between Solutions and Products, and click Save. And so now if I go to my Sales application, you see Documents does appear between Solutions and Products. And so you notice here that the Sales application has more tabs available to it than the previous application that I was in. And so then there's also this down arrow. And this is when there's more tabs that are selected for an application than can be displayed in your display settings. So if I click on that, it shows that this Dashboards tab is also available from the Sales application. Let's return back to My Settings. And in the Display and Layout customization options, in addition to customizing our tabs, which we did previously, you can also customize My Pages. On the Customize My Pages screen, this is where you would go to customize your home screen. If you were to click Customize Page right now, however, you'll see an alert that you need to have at least one dashboard enabled before you can customize your home page. Since we're in a brand new Salesforce instance, you won't be able to customize your home page quite yet, and so we'll be able to get into this later in this course. But for now, I wanted to make you aware of where you can go in to customize not only your home page, but also other pages related to other object records inside of Salesforce. It is here where you could customize the layout of the accounts, object records, or contacts or cases, for instance. And this gets into customizing related lists and related records to the object that you're customizing the page for. And you see here that for the case object, as a quick example, we've got these different related lists, and you can remove or add related lists back and forth and clicking save in order to do so. But for right now, we're just getting familiar with the My Settings section, and it's specifically under display and layout. And then it is here as well that you can make setup your default landing page. The setup would be this screen here that's also accessible from the setup link at the top right. I'm going to leave this checkbox unselected because setup is more of an administrator and developer setting, and as a Salesforce user you don't need to be getting into the setup menu, and so we're going to leave that unchecked. And so since we've not made any changes to customizing our pages, we'll just not save or cancel, but we'll go on to the next selection here under display and layout under My Settings, which would be My Social Accounts and Contacts. For your social accounts and contacts, you can see social profiles for your accounts, contacts, leads, and person accounts directly in Salesforce. So this first checkbox, which is checked, is signifying that you're going to use social accounts and contacts. And then the various social networks that are available in Salesforce are Twitter, Facebook, Clout, and YouTube. If you wish to not see certain social networks, you can simply deselect the check mark next to social network that you don't wish to see. And so, for instance, we have Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube now selected. And so now, if various contacts or even account records have a Twitter profile or a Facebook account or a YouTube channel, we can associate those with those records and see that information in the display or detail page for that account or contact. You can get more information by hovering over the information icon to the right of each. So for instance, by enabling using social accounts and contacts, you want to select if you want to use the social accounts and contacts feature, and you can deselect to turn this feature off for yourself. Pretty self-explanatory, and the same sort of information related to the other social networks. So you can set these as you wish and simply click Save. And so now let's return back to the display and layout section again, and let's visit the final section, which would be accessibility. So it's here that you may want to use certain screen readers, and this makes Salesforce more accessible for those that may have difficulty seeing, for instance. And then the colorblind palette on charts. This option sets an alternate color palette for charts that has been optimized for use by colorblind users. And then just also keeping in mind that for dashboard emails that are sent, the alternate palette is not used. And so this is only for dashboards that are in the user interface, and they use a colorblind palette that makes the colors more easily distinguishable. I'm going to cancel out of that, and we're just going to leave the accessibility settings unchecked. So that concludes the display and layout section of My Settings, and there's other settings here under My Settings such as email settings, chatter, calendar and reminders, desktop add-ons, and import. We'll be getting into some of those functions later in this course. But we're now going to draw this section to a conclusion as far as personalizing Salesforce. We've personalized the Salesforce interface enough now that we can start to dive into the next section of this course, which deals with marketing management, automation, and optimization in Salesforce. This is the section where we begin to attract customers, which are known as leads, and then we will go from there following through the entire sales and service cycle in Salesforce. So stay tuned for the next lecture, which is an introduction to marketing management, automation, and optimization in Salesforce.